Assalamualaikum. I wanted to come on here and talk about friendship. I wanted to first debunk the word my best friend and talking about having a best friend. I think that this word is quite childish and quite not the right term that as Muslims we live up to. And I know that may offend some people, but I feel like the right word or the right way to interpret the word best friend, I guess we could think a little bit deeper to attach a meaning towards it. And I like to say that it's like a beneficial companionship. I like to just view it as that because what I've seen is amongst my husband and his best friend, quote unquote. What I see that really truly comes out is a beneficial companionship, and I'll talk about what I see from that in a little bit. But I feel like using the word best friend, it does come from a younger version of ourselves. It doesn't come from an adult version that wants to move forward in the world, that wants to change the world with the resources that they're given. I feel like best friend does associate with doing fun things and being in a bubble with that one person, but I feel like it really isn't the case, especially if we are Muslim. So before I get into talking about the dangers of like the best friend and why I do use the word beneficial companionship, I do want to talk about the great example, which would be the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr and Umar, may Allah be pleased with them. They were a true example of what companionship was to one another, and it created much benefit to the world, and that's why I call it beneficial companionship, because they had united under one thing, which would be Islam. But one of the great aspects here is that they wanted to push Islam. They're pushing Islam forward together, and I think that's a concept that we need to utilize as individuals that have really close friends right now, is saying like, how do we bring Islam forward and how do we gather more people together. This is a component that is often left behind. What you'll see is people who, I'm going to invite my best friends, and then they don't include other people, and it kind of just boxes people in. And it's okay to have, not preferences, it's okay to have, you know, uh, closeness throughout the years with somebody, but it's also important to include people because that's truly the essence of what Islam does and how Islam did truly succeed. The Prophet ﷺ did have, his companions that he was very close with, and then counseling like with and strategic planning with, but he also made everyone feel included. And when we use terms like best friends, close friends, like that is for our own heads, but when we start displaying it over and over again, it does not offer benefit that can be reached, if that makes sense. So I think like the important steps to really truly understand a beneficial companionship, number one is to have an honest conversation with your close friends and talk about how can we bring Islam forward even more, how do we keep each other in check, and then that's, I think actually number one is honest advice, blunt. This is components that we don't even touch the surface of. So getting rid of this notion of best friends does help because it's not peaches and roses and things like that. It is not going to be your bestie basically, because there's going to be some instances of taking that mirror and showing some things to improve on, like, and we don't take that lightly, right? So I think that's the notion of best friends is a bit too light, but I think like being honest, I think the first step is to come to your friend and saying like we need to bring Islam forward, and trying to really have those inner talks about how can we improve ourselves, and starting like, yeah, we're starting small here, and then I think it's important, and a way to heal and a way to be better is to let's host random gatherings together with other people, like high school, whether you can do high school reunions, whether you just reach out, be silly, and hey, like me and my friend are having this, come, it's silly, it's really out of comfort zone, but it's actually what we need. Everyone has this secret pain in them, which would be loneliness. It's very, 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 very prominent. And so we want to remove the feeling of loneliness. We do it for ourselves in many different instances. We have to do it for others as well. So I feel like that's the second part. What I thought about this video, the reason why is because this friendship that my husband has had for many years with his friend has opened so many doors for our family and for his family. The doors have opened of Allah's rizq for us through the other half, and I think that's what really was very powerful to me. And I'll use an example, being at this, his close friend's wedding. I met another lady that showed me, like, she has connections to converts, and I met, converts, and I hung out with a convert for the first time that I got through that wedding. And, like, I'm just saying, like, of a door opening. They bring so much barakah in your lives, and I guess I am talking about a selfish thing here, but I'm talking about even the ummah, how we utilize this resource and that resource, and then this and this, and it collaborates, and it's so sweet that you cannot find it anywhere else. And that's why I say beneficial companionship. When I talk about beneficial companionship, I'm only envisioning what the Prophet ﷺ did with his companions and how he spread Islam, and, like, it's an inspiration, it's a fire within us that we should be carrying. I think of that, and when I think about beneficial companionship, I think about that Islam is always in that center. And yes, we do like road trips, and yes, we do like barbecues, and we do like game nights and things like that. The center, the fire is still there. We want to gather people to Jannah. Jannah is something about the Day of Judgment. We're in groups. We do things. We get to the next place in groups. So I think that utilizing that aspect to its fullest is the sweetness and the secret sauce. This journey will be everything but comfort, and I think that's something that I want to emphasize, and that's why I talk about the concept and all this weirdness. But I feel like it's everything but comfort, because I've seen in a close example, like I were talking about my husband and his close friend. I've seen that it's everything but comfort. Like, they go through hardships privately, and they've had like a fire within them, like a drive within them, because of own personal struggles, and also telling each other honest opinion and outlooks. And it's not comfortable to get deeper and deeper in a friendship, to get to let it blossom. It's really just, it's not comfortable. It's not comfort. And even to this day, like, when they meet, they're setting up tents, they're like doing, cooking raw meat, they're doing like things in bad weather for a greater benefit, which is our community mission. So I just think that always looking forward, always having a mission, being uncomfortable. These are just some elements that I've witnessed from the Prophet ﷺ and his companionship, and also just in marriages and of the past predecessors. Just all of the greats they have. Yeah. Anyways, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum.